Yeah, hold on. Let me send meet me. We welcome you live here from Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm Matthew Holmes alongside Tristan Mendoza. We're going to be up here in the booth until that 8 o'clock race time for the Duels at Daytona to kick off season number 17 for SCRIA. Tristan, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, Matthew.
Well, tonight we have a long coverage for you to talk about this new season and to pretty much get you informed on what happened in the past couple days. We had the Clash 2 nights ago, and we had the Duels tonight. We had the United Rentals 300 tomorrow for the Expedition race for the Xfinity Series, and then of course the Daytona 500 on Sunday or on Wednesday. Tristan, would you like to inform us a little bit more on what happened in the Clash and give us a quick little race rewind?
So basically, in the Daytona Clash, we were opened and we were brought with a lot of. Well, first off, the drivers, obviously. We had rookies like Max Owens, Will Mott, and 16 or 13 that never got to run any actual laps, but was still out there in the race. It was it was a pretty decent race. We had 2x2, the occasional 3 wide, and then Mei Usagi taking it home for the first woman to ever win in Daytona at SCRIA throughout the league's history. As we sit up here in the booth, cars were just running around here last night, as we talked about for the Clash, or 2 nights ago at this point. We had a lot of contenders there, but now this is when things start heating up, the Duels, and then on to the regular season with the 500 starting, and it's a pretty big deal.
Well, tonight, of course, the Duels at Daytona. This will set the field for Wednesday for the Daytona 500. The Duels, of course, being set in order based off of a complete randomizer. Um, One of the questions, or one of the few questions that I'm going to get off here with, um, is how do you think the weekend, as I always usually ask this question, how do you think the weekend's going to unfold with the Xfinity Series race, of course, being tomorrow night, and the Cup Series race on Wednesday as well? Before I answer that, or before I let you answer that question, we had a bit of rain here today, and we're supposed to have rain here tomorrow around the start of the Xfinity Series race, and hopefully not on Wednesday for the Cup race. How do you think, if anything, the rain's going to change the track, and how do you think the weekend's just going to unfold?
I mean, we're racing either way, no matter what happens with the rain and such, and I think that it could play a factor here on how things shape up, but um, cupping on Wednesday and the Xfinity race being tomorrow, and with the rain and such, I don't think the rain will slow us down at all. I mean, either way, we're drawing that track and we're getting cars on there somehow, some way, and it's always gonna be it. I mean, you can't really say anything until it happens, but Xfinity
Mm-hmm.
racing, I think we're gonna be seeing the same amount of hard racing, good hard racing that we always would every time it comes to Daytona, and especially like a few seasons ago with Chase Clyde picking up the win in that 4 wide finish. I don't think it's gonna get any less heated up than that.
Oh yeah, I mean the Xfinity Series races, they are always um extremely heated. Like you said, that four wide finish, I mean that whole night was insane, and that finish just made it. Um, One of the big questions that we didn't ask for the duels yesterday is, when's the best time to start strategizing? Is there a certain time where everything pretty much gets made, or is it, let's think, like, let's make it as it goes, pretty much? Like, how what do you think is the best time to start strategizing in these super speed races?
I think the best time to start strategizing will always be just right as you take the first lap, because no matter what, you're prepping yourself up for the rest of the race and how it goes on. And I mean, you always want to you always want to have at least a strategy before going into a race, like mentally, and then when you're out there on the track, you want to have strategy based on the fuel and such. And I think you do need to do that well way into the beginning of the race. You can't just do that like middle of the race, because then you're not going to have an idea for the end of the race, and it's just going to be a whole big
Mhm.
mess. And then you also need to strategize with others, which is a whole nother thing. It's a lot of key details you need to add before stepping into that big old question.
Well, we're gonna stop you right here. Let's go off to our first commercial break of the night. We're gonna be right back here from Daytona International Speedway. We're gonna lead you all the way up to the duels at Daytona.
Consider joining the team at Waffle House. You'll work in a fast-paced atmosphere and meet exciting new people. We offer comprehensive benefits, flexible hours, and training in self-defense, because you never know when you're going to have to kick ass. Text careers to Waffle 923353. Waffle House. We got your back.
Got no credit, and I regret it. When I tried to get a car that looked at me and said, forget it. I need a ride. I need it now.
Well, you can stop all that complaining, because I'm the credit cow.
Credit cow.
Here at Landmark Auto Sales.
See, we own the cars, and you pay us, so we can see who gets a ride and who rides the bus. You got a job? Then you're okay. Call us or come into Landmark Auto Sales, and for as little as $4.99 down, you can ride today. Hey, hey. Now,
hey, credit
hey,
cow.
Move.
Here at Landmark Auto Sales.
Move. Hey.
It's dinner time.
You drive like my mom.
Dinner's ready.
What would you do with your favorite driver? Enter your design at toyotaracing.com.
We welcome you back here on SCRIA RaceHub, presented by Sunoco and presented by Illumination Pictures Despicable Me 4, releasing out June 3rd on pretty much all the theaters. And you'll play the Despicable Me 4 heist obby, officially licensed by Illumination and Universal, on Roblox today, as the Brad Keselowski car sits in the infield here. We had a bunch of people take photos of it today and yesterday. So we welcome in Alston Baptiste, who will be driving, Chase Clyde, who will be driving the number 88 Logitech Chevrolet tonight. First of all, Chase, how are you?
I'm chilling. It's a beautiful day at Daytona here.
Well, you are definitely a Florida native. You know about winning a Daytona. For one, how did you get it done last time we were here in the Xfinity Series at this track? Because obviously we were talking about it before we went to break. We were talking about it. How did you get it done at Daytona? And talk me through the mindset of a last lap at Daytona.
Depends, like, where you are coming to two to go. It all starts with two to go. You set yourself up with two to go. But, like, so, it's kind of, like, hard to, like, say, because it depends on where you are. So, say if you get, like, fifth, you could be, like, more relaxed and calm, and, like, make your rules the white flag. Like, if you're last with coming to two to go, you're really praying, you gotta hope you're praying to, like, get wrecked. like they have something up front. Like we saw Bricks, or maybe Soggy. Like we saw what happened to her in the Clash.
Yeah.
Like that will happen a lot of times. But basically, you just have to be figuring out where you are and make your moves.
Well, it's scary you're at Daytona with these moves being made. Um, in your mind, you don't have a Coke 400 or a Daytona 500 yet. You do have that Xfinity Series win. Um, what are you gonna try doing differently, or what have you tried to do differently to win at Daytona? Because if you talk to Joseph Newgarden in the Xfinity or the IndyCar Series, he said that he rewatches every race every day after as soon as that IndyCar posts the full race length. The next day, he rewatches them all, and he sees what he could do differently. Or if he wins, then obviously you don't have to watch that race that weekend. But what do you prep and for these moments at Daytona to get ready? I mean, the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the week, biggest race of the year, really. I cannot tell you a bigger race other than the 500 for the SCRIA Cup Series or really any other series. How do you prep for the Daytona 500?
Well, it depends on what package we have coming to this track. See if our car is good. If our car is good, then most likely going to try to like make moves like 90% of the time. And basically, if our car is not so good and the package is terrible, then gonna be like chilling in the back most likely.
All right. Well, anything from you, Tristan?
I was just gonna ask, Holmes said earlier, we know you haven't picked up the 500 win and the Coke 400 win yet. No one's at Daytona besides the Xfinity race. Do you think that this is a good weekend to go and take it, or yeah? Do you think this is a good time to go ahead and take that 500 win this year?
Um, Depending on a lot of factors, but I think it'll be a good year because we have a bunch back on the car, long time partner with me and my race team, and we'll see.
All right. Well, that was Alston Baptiste, or sorry, Chase Clyde in the number 88 Logitech Chevrolet. You can now exit off the right, and thank you for coming out here, and we'll see you in the duels. Yep. All right. Well, one other thing, before we bring up our next driver, which will possibly be Ashton Miller, my next question here is, knowing how these guys have raced in the Clash, 2 nights ago, do you think there will be any changes in the Duels of the Cup race? Because we were talking about it, how aggressive these guys were getting. I mean, it was to where the point where it was getting annoying how aggressive these guys are getting. Do you think there's going to be any changes for the Duel for the Cup race, or do you think it's going to be full blown 200 plus miles per hour, like, chaos?
I mean, we're gonna hope that there will be no changes, because with the package we saw during the Clash, it was a pretty damn good package. We saw these guys running around here, and just the way they were racing, the stuff that they were putting up was a pretty good race. We had the 4 wide finish at stage 2, although not the cleanest finish. It's still a good sign to show in duels in the 500. And I basically guess our message to SCRIA, or my message to SCRIA, if they are going to change anything, to remotely be the same or just work on it to make it even better, because that racing, that was, I think, if you go rewatch the Clash race, which is up on the channel right now, you could get back and relax and watch that race, because that was pretty good. If any changes do occur, we're gonna hope that it doesn't lead to single file 500, because it was a pretty dang good race.
Yeah, the Clash was definitely a really good race, and going on to the Daytona 500 and the duels and all that, it gets intense. There's genuinely a part in everyone's brain in this field, in the Xfinity race or the Cup race, there's a mindset where you're like, okay, maybe I should step it down a bit. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but what if I step it down and I get taken out of this thing? So there's a lot of different things going on here at Daytona. I can tell you the mindset of an average driver here is the same mindset of, I can't say that, but it's, you get what I'm saying. You either have the right mindset coming in here, or you have wreck everybody, attend the 3 funerals, and leave.
Well,
so that's...
well, I just want to add on to that. I mean, it's not like you can't think about the race always like that, because like you said, there's always that part of you that, do I want to win the 500 or do I want to end up in the catch fence? And I think that you always need that motive to, want to go win this 500. You want to go out into this race and go take the checkered, because there's drivers here without the win and with the wins in the 500 that all of them want to go for it the same. I mean, Denny Hamlin, 3 500 wins. He didn't ever stop trying to go get that win no matter what happened. There was there's always the cause of the big wreck. There's always whatever. There's always some things that are in the 500. But it's the racer's edge. You can't always think of it as, oh, I'm going to die, I'm going to wreck here. You need to think about, oh, I'm going to go win this race, I'm going to go out front, and I'm going to lead it. Not that you need to wreck the whole field. You don't have to stay behind the whole time. It's just you need the right mindset to go with it and the strategy.
How do you think the Xfinity race is gonna handle? Because I mean, I know the Xfinity race, it's an expedition race, and it's not whatsoever a points paying event. I mean, there's only gonna be a couple this season. How do you think that's gonna end up handling out, and how do you think that's gonna go?
I mean, I think that the Xfinity race, no matter what, you end up in Daytona victory lane. We said it in the Clash. We were talking about, like, yeah, it's the Clash. It doesn't count for any points, but you're still going to be in Daytona victory lane. It's the glory of having that, of just having that accomplishment at the end of the day. And I don't think any less hype's going to go into the Xfinity race, because, yeah, you want to race in the Xfinity. That's great. But if you go out, you win the Xfinity race and the Cup race, like a few seasons ago that J-Boom did, that's an amazing triumph. And just winning that Xfinity race at all in a drafting track like that, I think it's a great feat.
Now, I know there's not going to be no truck race, hopefully next season, but in the past, we've had Xfinity races, we've had Cup races, we've had Truck Series races. Hell, we had the battle in the backstretch. So, to win at Daytona, like you said, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to win even a duel tonight. You got the duels. To win a duel, even, it goes to show you, yeah, you have the balls to win at Daytona. Remember, duel number 1, that sets the inside row for Wednesday. Duel number 2 sets the outside. So, it doesn't really matter where you start. I haven't really heard a lot of people say this before. It doesn't really matter where you start in the Daytona 500. It's where you want to put yourself with 10 to go. Do you want to put yourself up front, fighting for it? If something happens, it happens. Or do you want to stay in the back, possibly miss out on a win, and leave Daytona empty-handed and wish you could have done more?
Yeah. So
that's what I think the whole mindset for most of these guys are going to be coming up here in Daytona. Yeah, so we're going to go on another commercial break real quick. We're going to be right back, and we're going to bring you home for the duels pretty soon, and we're going to get our last commercial break in here.
Commercial break! People always ask me, how do you look so horrible? Is it natural? Well, here's my secret. Creme de... With active ingredients including fridge mold and ham sweat, its pimple-inducing formula is guaranteed to keep your skin oily and rank. Creme de... For him and for...
came. Where? Casey! There he is. There he is.
Even the best drivers could use accident forgiveness. Part of your choice auto insurance. Only from Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Hey, is there anything we could do to help? Anything.
All right, well, we're back at Daytona, and we're back here in RaceHub. Tristan Mendoza alongside Matthew Holmes. We're about to get this thing wrapped up and head on to the duels at Daytona. A lot of drivers going out to compete for this trophy, and a lot of drivers checking to see if they go home or if they start in that front row.
Yeah, well, the duel's right around the corner. We're gonna, of course, get in our last minutes and our last questions before we start the duels at Daytona. Very cloudy skies here at Daytona. It's been raining all day. I mean, me and you literally left the hotel right across the street at Blue Greens, and we both said to each other, "Are they gonna get the duel in today?" And I mean, I don't know if anyone picked it up one thing, but it is thundering here at Daytona, so hopefully this race does get in. The rain at Daytona, it loves playing with the field. It likes teasing us a little bit. So
Yeah.
hopefully for the Daytona 500 and the race tomorrow, we don't have any problems. So that'll be a good thing. If not, anyway, let's get back here to Daytona for our final questions before the duels at Daytona. We like to thank you and thank you for everyone who's watching our FS1 coverage of RaceHub. Our next RaceHub broadcast will be the day after the Daytona 500. We'll get you all caught up on the duels, the Daytona 500, and the Xfinity race. We're actually going to be back here on Wednesday before the Daytona 500. We're going to bring in a couple drivers. We're going to bring in your Duel 1, your Duel 2, your Xfinity Series race winner, and a couple other drivers as we're going to get set for the weekend at Daytona. Ghost, anything you want to put in just yet?
I think we got pretty much everything wrapped up, and I think it's about time that we start seeing some actual racing going on here. I mean, with all these questions here.
Yeah, well, the gates are going to be opening here at Daytona anytime soon, and that crowd's gonna.
It's gonna go crazy.
Yeah, packed stands here for the return of SCRIA, and I'm excited. I think you are, and a couple other people are. I'm excited for this. So our final questions of the night are one, and I had to ask this: is what should you focus on the most in these weekends? Should you focus more on? Well, what should you focus on? That's what I want to ask from somebody who's won the Daytona 500 and the Coke 400 and 2 SCRIA championships. What is the main thing to think about here at Daytona?
I mean, I think the focus for just about every race you run here at Daytona, the Coke 400, the 500, the Clash, the Duels, the focus should be getting your car in one piece to the checkered flag and at least competing for that win. Because if I'm racing at Daytona and if I don't win the race, I at least want to have that. I just want to have that feeling like I did something during that race, because I don't want to be dead last coming to the start finish line at the final lap of the 500, knowing that I didn't do anything to that race. I didn't put up a fighting chance. If I lose in a photo finish here at Daytona, I at least have that feeling that I almost went for it. I almost got the win. I tried for it. I focused on getting that win. I got my car there at the end. It should be that should be the mindset of every driver. Give me a second. What do you want?
Well, yeah, the main focus is to come back all in one piece. I mean, sometimes some drivers don't do that. So, in the past we've seen some insane wrecks, and hopefully, fingers crossed. Well, okay, that's another thing. You want to see some crazy wrecks, obviously, but you don't really want to ruin, your chance, or not that, but when you see a crazy wreck, usually the driver on the other side is not going to be happy at all. You may think, oh, well, that was a crazy wreck. But when you wreck here in Daytona, especially coming to the final laps of these races, you can ask anybody who's been wrecked in any league on the last lap, anywhere. Where would they rather wreck on in the last lap if they had the chance? Daytona for the Coke 400 or for the Daytona 500, or Kansas or Bristol? 9 times out of 10, honestly, 10 times out of 10, you're going to hear somebody say, oh, I'd rather wreck at the other track instead of Daytona.
Yeah.
So, we're going to sign off pretty soon here, but what do you think is going to be the trickiest part of the weekend?
I mean, the trickiest part of the weekend, obviously, racing the 500. I mean, the duels, it's one thing, trying to get your car in position, trying to get that effort in so you can start near the front row of the 500. But it's also another feeling that, oh, it's the 500. I need to make my mark here. I'm going home empty-handed. Because, with all this build-up to a race like this, it's not the same as going off to Kansas. Because, like you were talking about with your examples earlier, if you're going to Kansas, you have a mindset. You have a way different mindset than for the Daytona 500. For the 500, you're thinking, oh, I really want to win this race. I'm gonna do everything I can to go win this race. Kansas, oh, it's Kansas. I'm gonna go race the race, see where I finish, see where I end up, because it's the anxiety, it's the pressure. It's everything going into Daytona. No matter what series you're running, Xfinity Series, ARCA, Cup Series, hell, even IMSA. It's just the build-up going here where it's hard. It's hard on you as a person.
Yeah, I mean, for one, about winning the duel or the, Rolex 24, like you said, about IMSA, not too long ago. It's hard to win a Daytona. You don't put on your Sunday best, come out here and say, I can win.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. You can win a race, yes. But
can you win the 500?
Can you win the 500? Yeah. No, I mean, Azzy Willis, we're going to give him, for example, 3 Daytona 500s, multiple Cook 400s, multiple Talladega races. Doesn't necessarily mean that he can come to Daytona and win anything. It only thing can prove is he has a better shot of winning, but he doesn't really have a shot at, he doesn't really have a total guaranteed shot at winning.
Yeah.
There's some drivers out there, Richard Petty, Jimmy Johnson even, Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well. Those guys, they all know how to lead, and, you may say, oh, yeah, they know how to win a Daytona. They definitely know how to win a Daytona. They've won multiple. If you narrow it down, the only 2 drivers in that sentence is Richard Petty and Dale Jr. Only 2 drivers that you can guaranteed, yeah, they're probably going to end up winning the 500. I mean, when you come to Daytona, anything is possible. Anything can happen. Hell, a fucking tornado can go right through the racetrack, tear everything up, and there goes your race. Anything can happen to Daytona. Talladega, everyone's always so scared of Talladega. It's like the Terminator. It's the whole Terminator movie. But, I mean, Daytona's the whole other opposite. It's such a bigger spectacle. It's such a bigger race that, again, anything and anything can happen to Daytona, and it will, how do I put this? It will mean more than a win at Talladega or Atlanta, or that's the only 2 super speedways on the schedule.
Well, it'll eat at you for sure. It will eat at you. It will eat at you wherever you finish at this track. You finish from second all the way to last. It's in your head always. until you end up winning that race, it's still, no matter what kind of race we're running here, the duels, the clash, the 500, no matter what.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting ready for the Blue Green Vacations Duels at Daytona. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Just anything, or Mendoza, anything?
Not much. I think we're getting ready, or I think we're ready to go racing here.
All right. Well, see y'all in the duels.